Seeing none, then we'll move on to the next item, which is a shareholder proposal regarding a report on lobbying activities. This proposal was submitted by the National Center for Public Policy Research, Washington, D.C., and requests that Pfizer prepare a report updated annually disclosing our policies and procedures governing lobbying activities. Justin Danhof is here representing the National Center for Public Policy Research. Mr. Danhof, would you please move the proposal forward for discussion?
Hi, thank you. I'm Justin Danhof, General Counsel with the National Center for Public Policy Research. Let me tell you a little bit about our proposal. First things first, don't vote for it. We don't want you to. We had two goals in filing this proposal. The first goal was to block a shareholder resolution from the Teamsters union from making it onto Pfizer's proxy statement. We succeeded in doing that. The second goal is to encourage the company to stand up for its values and a pro-capitalist agenda in the face of attacks from Teamsters and its cohorts. That's right, stand up for capitalism. Right now, the country faces an existential decision whether to continue down the road of market capitalism or to embrace socialism and ideas for Medicare for all. If we do that, this could be the last annual meeting because, of course, the idea of Medicare for all would be to eradicate Pfizer and the entire pharmaceutical industry and adopt it into a government-run program. We didn't know for sure that the Teamsters would be the specific group to file this anti-free speech proposal, but we had a good idea it would come from the anti-capitalists in the As You Sow network. So we filed a resolution with similar language, but with a pro-business message. Since the SEC has a first-in-time rule, and ours was in first, the Teamsters proposal won't see the light of day. Pfizer's investors should cheer that result. The Teamsters are part of a broad network of liberal groups attempting to use American corporations to silence speech and defund advocates of free enterprise. Following the Supreme Court Citizens United decision, this network has filed hundreds of shareholder resolutions complaining about an alleged lack of transparency and accountability in corporate lobbying and political activity. However, these groups never express concern about the billions of corporate dollars that go to fund liberal causes and politicians. Herein lies the hypocrisy of their proposal. This liberal network abhors corporate speech when it is perceived to skew to the political right, yet it remains completely silent when speech supports favored leftist causes. The As You Sow network has tried to co-opt Pfizer's investors into its anti-free speech efforts in the prior years, and its proposals have received shockingly high percentages. Many investors were perhaps misled by As You Sow's calls for so-called transparency and accountability. We hope investors now understand this network's extremely partisan nature and deceptive tactics. This network complains that corporate relationships with groups such as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the American Legislative Exchange Council, the Business Roundtable, NAM, Pharma, and other pro-business groups expose companies such as Pfizer to, quote, reputational risk. Considering that this is the network that regularly smears these free market groups, this is a circular argument with no basis in fact. Groups such as the Chamber, Pharma, and ALEC promote a fair economic environment devoid of excessive government regulation and onerous corporate taxation. Such an environment helps, it doesn't harm Pfizer. But that's just what the Teamsters and As You Sow network wants, the end to American capitalism by destroying private enterprise. So please don't vote for our proposal today, and in future years, and on other corporate proxy statements, if you see a proposal from the Teamsters or any other group in the As You Sow orbit that seems to beg for, quote, transparency and accountability, vote all of those down too. Thank you.
The Board of Directors opposes the proposal for the reasons set forward in the proxy statement. Is there any further discussions on this voting item? Seeing none, we will move on to the next voting item. Thank you.